Everybody, this is part two of a series that I'll be running in terms of showing you how I'm gonna slowly but surely, hang on, not slowly. I've caught my limiting belief. Things are gonna happen slow. I want to make them happen as fast as possible. So this is part two of my series of identifying limiting beliefs. Others might call it things that self-sabotage yourself. These are for people who are like me, who get messed up with too many things they like to do, too many silver, shiny objects they want to chase, too many hobbies, and they can't seem to focus. They are somewhat high functioning, but they don't seem to get their goals. So, this is a limiting belief that I do have. I'm going to break down and show you why people pleasing tendencies tend to fall short with the lack of focus and how this is all broken down in terms of the patterns that I've realized that are affecting my day to day. From a career point of view, in sales, I had two sales calls yesterday and I messed up. I messed up in a way that I have yet to identify the difference between discomfort and being actual doing something, doing harm. Based on my childhood development and my programming, for some weird reason, I feel like failing someone or doing someone harm and discomfort are the exact same thing. And hence why I do not want to go into any conflict, or when I hear something bad, I feel like it's my fault. Let me show you my screen in terms of where we left off last time, and I'll show you what I discovered in terms of what I need to start to put more attention on when it comes to mindset in order to actually unbreak this, unlearn this, so that I can actually close more deals. For one, more deals closed means more money. And from a life point of view, like people know that when you're at this level, that saying no means you are not being mean and you're not failing someone, but saying no means that you have more time for yourself. You don't spread yourself so thin. So at 34, I'm tending to be a people pleasing person because back in childhood, seeing my dad grow up working hard, having to say yes to so many jobs because he had to support a young family, and also seeing my mom, just giving too much love to the point where it's overbearing and afterward it was mean. So now I'm being a bit passive. So those two things, as an Asian, you have to comply. And right now, complying is something that doesn't work with what I want. Like being a salesperson and closing more deals, you cannot comply to the frame that prospects are giving you because they're just going to bulldoze you over and you cannot get the deal closed, no, regardless of how good the discovery is or the objection handling is. So just to summarize about the last video, like I have approval seeking tendencies. Like that's people pleasing tendencies. Number two, I overcorrect from what my parents have done to me. I don't want to be too angry. I don't want to be too overbearing. So I become too passive. So it's not that I am a passive, or I guess, yes, I am a passive person. But then if you're passive, you cannot shut down anger. You cannot shut down being over management and overbearing. You suppress it. And when you suppress it, it does come out into your subconscious. A preemptive retreater. Like you just feel like you don't want to be put into an awkward situation. So let's just continue from the last video. Okay. The guilt feel runner. Your dad worked hard every day. You watch that, you absorb the equation, rest equals unproductive equals not enough. So this is a feeling that was getting when I was on holiday in Bali with my girlfriend. I couldn't shut off. I did preempt the whole situation where I want to get work done. Like I wanted to cover the cost of the whole entire holiday and close some deals. And, I ended up doing that and it actually made me feel happy. But the whole idea is if I strip that away, who do I come? Are you less of a person if the outcome isn't achieved? If you strip away your accolades, are you actually satisfied for who you are? Or do your accolades and your outcomes represent you? That should hit, it hit me because it gives me a sense of guilt and shame and working on that frequency over love, joy, and achievement and curiosity, that is something I need to overcome. Because if I go into a sales call and the whole entire call is dictated on my performance to close, the subconscious will come out of that and I won't be able to close because closing represents that ability to put yourself away from the situation and actually identify a a problem, a limiting belief, or a language pattern that the prospect is saying that you as the consultant, you as the assessor, you diagnosing it, you have to be frank and you have to be telling the truth. And if you cannot tell the truth because you feel like you're the fear of judgment in yourself because you don't want to make them angry, the deal isn't going to get closed. When you achieve a goal, the relief is brief and the pressure resumes almost immediately. The internal vocabulary, I have to, far more than I get to. The key insight between guilt and shame. Guilt and shame can get you to 100K. They cannot get you to a life that feels good because you achieve the goal using guilt as a fuel. You land at the destination and discover the feeling does not change because the fuel remains as guilt. Do you want this to continue happening? Obviously not. The first thing is to identify that everything is running off guilt and shame, which is a lower frequency vibration, and people don't want to be around people who keep externalizing and victimizing themselves. That being said, it's hard to say it, but people like you hear people try to victimize and externalize, and you feel like, yeah, I'm accountable. I can definitely not victimize my situation and I'll, hold everything, to my heart and take full accountability and self-agency. But deep down, if you're getting from 0 to 10K is 0 to like 100K per annum, there's definitely going to be a sense of guilt and shame. Not saying that you shouldn't be doing that because there needs to be a bit of urgency because through guilt and shame, that gives a sense of urgency. But be wary that you do not need that moving forward and you have to figure out a way to either manage it or get rid of it because it does leak out. Part five, the approval dependent creator, where it came from. This is where it came from for me. When you were genuinely interested in something as a child, drawing, cooking, connecting with your auntie, and no one was judging it, you thrived. But when something you love got tied to external approvals and the approval was withdrawn, you retreat from the whole thing. Not just the bad experience, the entire passion. You started cooking at 11 because you watched Jamie Oliver and got curious. No one graded it. No one's approval determined whether it continued. You were still doing it at 34 because the feedback was internal. It tasted good or it didn't. The art was different. One commission client was unhappy. You quit with the entire thing. The whole idea is I found the green light. I was really good at it. I was very curious at it. I could see myself internally seeing improvements when I went from like stick figure to Pokemon to actual detailed anime art. And it got to the point where I was like doing full blown paintings. And then like I was like, I'm getting bloody good. Like I like as a self-taught artist, like I am like up there in terms of the higher demographic percentile of people doing this. Like, let's try to make this. Let's try to monetize this. I got a couple, a couple. I did get a couple of dollars. Made a couple of hundreds of dollars doing this, but I got to the point where my heart wasn't in it. I was thinking about money, and then yeah, one bad commission just made me like, fuck this, not doing this. I need and that just shifted. I ultimately knew I need money. That's one thing because I feel like that leads to freedom. But that's a good tester in terms of like if I did do cooking and went to the chef route, that would have made me not like being a chef. The key insight, the cooking version of you is not a different person. It is you when the approval seeking mechanism is switched off. He is still in there. You access him by asking, what if I Would I still do this if no one ever found out or praised me for it? If yes, that's the version to follow. There we go. The diagnostic question. These are the questions to ask yourself in the moment before you back down, before you feel the silence, before you say yes, when you mean no. No before you rush into the pitch. They create the gap between the trigger and the reaction. The failure test. This is what I need to start doing because there were two deals that didn't close and I didn't go deep. There were things I could have went deep on, but I couldn't get in because I felt like me prying or me just not making the question sophisticated enough made me not want to push into it, which made the discovery from from memory quite superficial. It didn't prove the worth of the high ticket pitch that I was offering, the high ticket program. Did I do something dishonest, harmful, or cruel? If no, it's discomfort. Not failure, keep going. This is the single most important question in the document. Your nervous system cannot tell the difference between something being uncomfortable and you actually failing them. The question forces the distinction. And there we go. If you guys don't know, it's the amygdala, which is a center in the brain that controls fear. Okay. And fear is an umbrella term for feeling dishonest, being harmful, or being cruel. Because if it's being happened to you, if the brain is doing that to you, that's a psychological kind of negative feeling. It comes from the same brain center. But it's up to you to determine where it is. It's up to your thinking to be like, am I being dishonest? Am I being harmful? Or is it just uncomfortable? When you go to the gym, is pumping weights just uncomfortable? Or are you being cruel and harmful to yourself? Maybe to a point, if you do 5 hours at the gym, you're like, the point of no return is like to a negative because you're actually destroying muscles. But you're actually being dishonest with yourself if you actually go to the gym, put a bit of strain and resistance, and be uncomfortable to get a better body and be healthier. That's the thing that I can discern for the gym, but I cannot discern that in a sales call. Same thing, but different situation. I need to do a better job at that. Am I doing this because I'm generally curious and interested, or because of how it looked or being received? This is the cooking question. It separates intrinsic motivation from approval seeking. The cooking version of you shows up when the answer is genuine curiosity. The approval dependent version shows up when the answer is external reception. So being externally judged, being at work, making people feel nice, where deep down I just purely not interested. That's where it comes from. And in sales, I feel like I just want to make sure that I can get the sale. And the way that I feel I can get the sale is to make sure that they feel listened and feel comfortable. But part of the reason why they're not where they want to get to is because they have a current problem. There's no point sugarcoating and dancing around the problem that's not getting them to where they want to be. So an example would be I'm getting a lot of objections, like fear money objection, saying, "Yeah, Phil, I've got the right amount. It's just like it's really, really expensive." And this is where I get stooped because if I could do a better discovery, there should be a value, there should be a situation like what would actually happen if you never actually solve this problem and you were still stuck because you've been stuck for the last couple of years. So the odds of you trying to, the odds of you doing nothing, keeping things the same, is much higher than actually taking action. Because actually taking action, if you actually did take full, complete ownership and commitment and prioritize this every single day, like where would you actually be by now? That's what complete ownership means. If you actually want to actually solve this, do you feel like you actually solve this by just thinking about it or actually doing it? If you actually want to solve this whole paying the mortgage faster, living with your girlfriend, would you actually put Can you actually honestly say you're putting 100% of your attention and your commitment every single day to make sure you put yourself either in a better situation to solve this, or you're taking actual actions to do it? Because if you are, like, hats off to you. Keep doing that. Like, you don't need us. But the reason why you're here is because it doesn't seem like you've figured it out. So to take away the method, take away like everything, and really look deep inside. Like, you seem like a high caliber person. Why is it that a high caliber person hasn't figured it out yet? Internally, like, what do you actually feel like is slowing you down? It separates intrinsic motivation from approval seeking. Approval seeking. Approval seeking is what's slowing me down. The cooking version of you shows up where the answer is genuine curiosity. Genuine curiosity is I genuinely want to know the truth. If we can identify what the truth is, then we have a direction to go towards. Because if we don't know what the truth is, we might be going the opposite direction. We need to be going in the right direction. The approval dependent version shows up when the answer is external reception. So I tell myself every single time I can't fix this like tomorrow because I know this is a really hard one to fix. Whenever someone asks me to go hang out, I've been saying no more than I have been, but it's not where it should be. I should be saying no to almost like 95% of potential opportunities and social interactions because I have yet to pay off my mortgage. That's how, for whatever reason, like that's how I operate. Because I just feel like if I go and do something else, I've already lost the focus. And when I try to come back to it, it takes 30 minutes to 40 minutes to reorientate myself. Like doing this video, like I'm gonna do another 5 more minutes of this. And if you guys like what I'm talking about, like I'm gonna do more of this. And if this resonates with you, please shoot a like and shoot a follow. And if anything, do the exact same thing as me. And if you want me to post this document on the description, like please comment below. I'm more than happy to share because I feel like we're at the point in life. If you're 34 or even just knowing how the world is operating at the moment, if you're a people pleaser, at some stage, it's going to hit you to the point where you're like, this is actually not serving me as much as I think I would have. Okay. So let's just do one more and then I'm just going to wrap it up and we're just going to keep doing this. Because another thing, if you're watching this, you also have a lack of focus and you've also got other things to consider. And you've also looking at other people doing motivational mindset. Like, I'm not saying they're bullshit, that it definitely works, but I just generally want to make a raw one to actually see how self-development, mindset improvement is actually going into action because I'm actually implementing like people like say like finding the trauma and try to figure it out like very generic and it requires you to actually remember what the childhood trauma is. If you cannot remember it, then what's the point of um identifying that trauma that could relate? Like maybe like again, like I'm 34, I'm trying to remember what happened back when I was 7. Like even like what's the odds of you remembering that? I mean, sure, if you've got like massive messed up trauma, I wouldn't say my childhood was the most traumatic, but everyone's got their version of trauma. But if you can remember that, you can remember how your parents acted. I mean, that's a start. That's a start. That's where I started. Like it's somewhere, but I know after spending 4 prompts, 3 prompts with Notebook LLM and Claude, like I got to where I need to get to today, which is knowing that it's a limiting belief and it's simply just knowing that I can't tell the difference between being uncomfortable and being dishonest and harmful. I thought they're this in my subconscious, I think they're the same thing. Consciously, I know they're different, but subconsciously, I put myself in situations where I'm like maybe under stress, I need to think on the spot. When those situations do come up, I think they're the same thing. I think they're the same thing when like let's say when my girlfriend gets angry at me and I know it's not my fault. And then I argue back and be mean and she starts crying. I think it's my fault because I take accountability for on my whole entire actions. Because that's how I see the world. Like, oh, I shouted, I got angry, therefore it's my fault. But because I couldn't identify that it was an uncomfortable conversation, I thought I was being dishonest with myself because I wasn't accountable to being a better boyfriend. Last one, question three, the vocab check. Is this I have to or I get to? Your brain is a detector for your own internal state. When you say I have to, even slightly, you confirm to yourself that you are operating from obligation or lack. When you shift to you when you shift to I get to, you move from the burden to opportunity. This is not positive thinking. It's a genuine rewiring of the frame. You already caught yourself doing this in this conversation mid-sentence. I don't want to make these videos. I don't have to make these videos, but I get to because I get to really understand more myself, put in the time. Like if I'm not making videos and if I'm not putting in the time to actually rediscover myself and really understand the self-limiting beliefs, this work is not going to get done. It's just like going to the gym and you not it's like having a gym membership. YouTube is essentially for me like a gym membership, and I'm not showing up. And I'm only showing up for like 30 minutes to, or even 20 minutes to post up these videos, and that's it. If I don't see YouTube as a virtual gym to work on my mindset and identify my self-limiting beliefs, like there's no point like fixing it because one, I don't have that self-accountability that I'm posting every day. That's the that's me showing up to the gym and logging my receipts, being like, yep, that's another video. That's another video. If I actually had recorded myself going to the gym ever since I was 18, my channel would probably be at around like more than 1,000 videos for sure. And I need to be doing that with YouTube. Views, the whole idea of going viral is to get attention. Yes, it creates more build for the algorithm. But if you're intentionally focusing on the avatar, which is me, and I'm not just a single person, I feel like there's other people that resonate with the same avatar as me. Third guy in his 30s, Asian, kind of high professional, looking to make money online, trying to pay off their mortgage quicker, have that kind of autonomy, that um freedom, but tied in with Asian traditions and try to understand what to keep from old Asian traditions, what to reject, making sure that it doesn't conflict Asian parents or your parents and your surroundings, and making sure that what you've been instilled and programmed from a young age, how can you adopt a higher version of it? Yes, you have to get rid of it, but knowing that are you actually getting rid of for the first for the in the first place to make sure you're putting something even better. Okay. And then understanding that that's going to have its own flaws, and you need to identify the flaws before you elevate again. It's all about elevating and getting better. That's the whole idea of self-improvement. But I was reading self-improvement books the whole entire time, and I definitely was aware, but I wasn't taking action. So I feel like this is for people who need to take action. If you are not making your own video and doing the same thing, you're just watching this, yes, you're getting value, but you're not getting anywhere. I'll be frank with you. This is just another video. But stay tuned if you want to keep watching for part three. You want to join the journey. If well, the whole idea is to make this, and I want to show you how much money I can make from here on in. I'm already at 24K cash collected, which is like I think around like 3K Australian commissions. We'll see how we go from here. See ya.